Hello everybody, welcome to Tpull's Corner. Can I do stuff with this? I think I can. I've got a 68 card deck, but my average mana value cost is 1.6, so I've got the standard number of lands, and I feel like I'm going to need to put Storm Chaser Drake out and just hope it survives a turn. That is perfect. Hunter's Mage, that's tapped, so we put combat on Drake. We attack with Drake. We do damage with the Drake, and we draw a card with the Drake. That is nice. And they don't use Concealing Curtains, they want to block the Gurgling Anointer instead. Or block with the Gurgling Anointer. That's fine. I'm going to copy the Drake and draw me another card. And we're drawing nothing but lands. Okay. Now are you going to use Concealing Curtains? Sacrifice the non-token. Okay. Losing my draw card advantage. Let's see. Here's a Venerated Rot Priest. And here is another way to get poison on you. And now I have two of the Rot Priests. It's lovely. Yeah, the frog has toxic. It's not just a weird thing to see toxic frogs, right?
I am vengeance. Bloody. You will serve me well.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's just flashback. Another poison. Now the poison counters are doubled because the frog acts just like the Venerated Rot Priest does. Now I have 3 that all have this effect. Whenever a creature becomes the target of a spell, you get a poison counter. So if I cast one spell on one of them, exile a creature I control. How about the Drake copy? They're all on defense. They can't really attack.
Dire times call for dire tactics.
And you're going to take something away, so why don't I just use Tamiyo's Safekeeping now and give you 3 more poison tokens? It's a beautiful thing while you're tapped out. To get rid of Croaking Counterpart. Too little, too late. Too little, too late, because I can do another copy here. And that was going to be 3, and then they didn't know it, but I could do another one with Tyver's Stand. So, this is pretty sick. I will show you the whole deck next. Remember to like and subscribe to Tpull's Corner, everybody. We are taking a little trip down Phyrexia. All will be one, all the poison decks. I'm doing it late because I always get my cards later than everybody else. Everybody else has like wild cards galore, and they seem to spend money or something, and they always manage to get a bunch of cards. We are free to play, and I've only recently broken my rule on hoarding wild cards, so I spent all my commons. As you can see, I'm down to 2 common cards left, and I don't think I did it right. I got all the blue and green and artifact commons, and then I ran out of wild cards, and I probably should have crafted at least 1 of each of them instead of 4 at a time. 4 copies of each card. But we've been wandering up and down Poison Avenue, so to speak, and we've done 3 other poison decks, and I configured my mono white one a little bit differently than normal. Based on the cards I had in my collection, it worked out fine. That one was probably the one I had the least amount of fun with, just because I'd seen it used the most. We had a very big green poison deck that worked really well, that was kind of fun, and the black and blue deck, where we cast poison without ever touching you, that one turned out to be more fun the more I played it. This one is kind of the other way that's left. Venerated Rot Priest. And I've seen a couple of examples of things, and people stick with 60 cards, and I'm not satisfied with that. So we went to 68. Here's how we're looking. As I said, 1.6 average mana value cost, 17 creatures, which is not too shabby. And it may seem like tough because I've got 8 extra cards. It's going to be harder to get to the Rot Priest, right? But I've got some stuff here. Let me break it down. We've got, first of all, Venerated Rot Priest is the centerpiece of everything, right? Whenever a creature you control becomes a target of a spell, target opponent gets a poison counter. So again, we don't necessarily need to hit them. Although the Rot Priest has Toxic itself, we don't ever need to lay hands on our opponent to get them to 10 poison, as you just saw. We could just throw a Tamiyo Safekeeping on it, and they get a poison counter. And so we've got some nice protection spells, right? Tamiyo Safekeeping protects it with Hexproof and Indestructible. Tyvar Stand does the same thing. Slip Out the Back will save it, as well as cause the poison trigger. And Shore Up will also save it. So we got 16 protection spells for our creatures. We could also stick a Combat Research on our Rot Priest, although we're probably going to put that on the other stuff we have. There's one other one-drop that I have, so to speak, that won't cost 1. It'll cost more. March of Burgeoning Life. If we have a Rot Priest out already, we'll go get a second with March of Burgeoning Life, and suddenly we'll double up on the poison. And this is an instant, so we could use it as a surprise spell, possibly. I've got 4 copies of Malkator's Watcher. This is 4 of the extra 8 cards that I have. When Malkator's Watcher dies, you draw a card. So it's so cheap. It's only 2 mana. If I get it down to the very beginning, we can get a couple of points of damage in. Maybe we put a Combat Research on it for a card draw in the first place. If I already have a Venerated Rot Priest down and they go to target this, maybe I save it with a protection spell. But it replaces itself by drawing a card whenever it dies. So I'm okay with having those extra 4 cards in the deck. I've got 1 Mischievous Catgeist. Whenever you deal combat damage, you draw a card. I'm looking for this thing to die. I may just run it, into damage itself, just so I can enchant any other creature that I want. Because if I got the Rot Priest down, the enchantment itself is going to cause a poison counter, let alone any card draw I might get out of it. I've got 2 Prologue to Phyresis. These are 2 more of the remaining 4 extra cards. Each opponent gets a poison counter. Again, it replaces itself. It's so cheap. Only 2 mana. And it gets the poison. If I don't have the Rot Priest out, I can start the poison off here, and I can draw a card after that. Next is 4 Storm Chaser Drakes. Again, only 2, very cheap. A 2/1 flyer. Whenever the Drake becomes a target of a spell you control, you draw a card. So we could protect it from dying and draw into another card, maybe draw into a Rot Priest. This is one where I'm not sure if I should cut back or not. Ivy Gleeful Spell Thief, because it's legendary. But it's a 2/1 flyer. Whenever a player casts a spell that targets only a single creature other than Ivy, you may copy the spell and the copy targets Ivy. So if I'm saving the Rot Priest with a Tamiyo Safekeeping and Ivy's out, I can cast a copy of Tamiyo Safekeeping on Ivy, and that will give 2 triggers of the Rot Priest ability, and we'll have 2 poison counters going on instead of just 1 from casting 1 spell on the Rot Priest. I've got 3 copies of Winterthorn Blessing. Put a 1/1 counter on top of target creature you control. You tap 1 target creature you don't control, and it doesn't untap for a turn. And this has flashback. So this is kind of a stalling tactic for when the opponent gets a lot of creatures down and starts attacking me. Maybe I can survive with this. And Croaking Counterpart, 3 copies of that. You create a token. We're usually creating a token of the Rot Priest and then doubling or tripling down on the poison counters each turn. And if I last long enough, I got flashback. So that's kind of 6 additional creatures. So do I really just have 17, or do I have up to 23, depending on how long the game goes? But wait, there's more. I have a copy of Vesuvian Duplicacy. How cool is it if you got the enchantment down, you have a Venerated Rot Priest down, you cast a spell that targets it, and suddenly we have 2 copies of it? There are shenanigans that can happen here. I'm not sure if I should have more Vesuvian Duplicacies in here and do it that way. But I just kind of threw a whole bunch of different stuff that I liked into one deck. And maybe you could trim this down. Maybe you could branch this out into a whole separate deck with just the Rot Priest and build it around Vesuvian Duplicacy and be just as good with, 3 more copies of Duplicacy and maybe 11 fewer cards elsewhere. I'm interested in maybe trying that, just because I'm a fan of the Duplimancy. It's proven to be such a powerful card. I've got a whole Haughty Djinn deck that's based on Vesuvan Duplimancy that works really well for me. But that's the idea. And hopefully, I know there's been a lot of time this past, and everybody's got a lot of YouTube people that they follow. So you've probably seen the Venerated Rot Priest already. Maybe once, maybe twice, maybe 20 times. Maybe come up against it 30 times yourself. Hopefully this is different enough to still keep you entertained. We shall see. You'll have to let me know. And they got three different colors. Do we throw the Rot Priest out? No, let's put the Storm Chaser Drake out. Am I going to say Storm Draker Chase all night? I think this card is useful in a number of other decks too, possibly, so it could be fun. Could be fun stuff. Alright, I like having the Drake out first because if they play a card that forces me to sacrifice a creature, I don't have to get rid of my Rot Priest right away. Because that's one card, and there's a couple of sacrifice cards they could play on me that have that effect. And I would not be able to save the Rot Priest if it was standing out there by itself. Even, you know, Tyvar Stand wouldn't help it. And that's what they're going to do, so everybody gets poison counter. Everybody else other than me, that is. Yes. Alright, let the poisoning begin. We start with tapping down their Lion Sash, popping up our Rot Priest, getting another poison, and attacking for all four. Because they're tapped down, so what do we care? They've got 4 colors already represented. For Mirrodin! Oh, great. It's flying already. It's going to block my Storm Chaser. 3-2. You don't say. Oh, that's good timing. I can do this to my Drake. Tap down the opponent. Not only do they get a poison from the Rot Priest, but I get to draw a card from the Drake. And then we still get to attack. I was planning to kill you with poison, but you're half dead from just me hitting you. What can you do? It's a cut down! Is there another way you can respond? I can respond with this. And you can get another poison counter. They might. That's such a cheap spell. They might have 2 removals ready. What you gonna do? What you gonna do? I don't know. This feels more like cheating than the black and blue Dimir deck did. There were only 3 cards that give poison in black and blue. And they do it without you hitting the opponent for poison. What did you get rid of? You got rid of a permanent just to beef up the Lion Sash? Do you not? Ooh, they don't have another instant. My Rot Priest is going to survive. You flash that in on, put it on the Lion Sash. That's game. Who cares? Blessing there. Tap you down. 2 poisons. I mean, I could just hit you in the face. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 different spells that would all give you up to 10 poison. We had about 5 different ways to kill our opponent there. Is this a fair deck? I feel like Rot Priest is busted. I don't say that. Ooh, we got all of our bonuses today. We got a mastery. Let me go do the mastery. You have to let me know if you like seeing this or not. Or if you guys are already done with all of yours. I haven't done all of mine, filled them in yet. Another card style for the Gloomfang Mauler. Out of all the cards in Phyrexia, I feel like the Raw Priest might be the one that I would ban if there was one up for a ban. Do I have there? Is there another card that's more broken? Just because Wizards has gone so wild with... They always have a green spell, it seems now, that's protective, and they always have, in each expansion, they have some kind of protective 1 mana blue spell. This is going to be a turn 2 where they can't get rid of my Rot Priest. And if I get land, it's all over, right? I didn't get land. Well, if they're not going to give me land, that may change the story, huh? Oh, they're playing Invasion again. This must be a popular battle. That's the second time. Remove something. What are you going to remove? Do you remove my shore up? I mean, the cards are so cheap, it kind of doesn't matter. I think we'll block that. Oh, I'm so silly. I was supposed to shore that up. Finally, we get some land. Let's go get a copy. First poison counter has started. They're going to go hit the battle, right? With everything they got. And now it's a race. But you're not going to hit me in the face. Because you want the +1. So they can get me half dead next turn, right? I feel like that's the thing to do. I might lose just because I didn't hit the shore up on the first one. I kept expecting to see the window come up where my opponent changed the order, put the order of which way they wanted to attack the creature. Let's do some stuff. Take action. How many poison counters is that going to be? 1, 2, 3, 4. That seems like a decent amount. We'll block you. We'll block you. The rest of the damage comes through. That's 10 points. I'm half dead. Unfortunately, I'm afraid you're dead. I only have 3 lands. But I get to cast this copy on Ivy. And that's a couple more triggers. So... turn 4, and I still have 2 different spells that are both valid. And that's 2, 3, 4 more poison triggers. We are having enough to do more than 10 by turn 4. And the only trick is if we don't get the Rot Priest out in the beginning. The Rot Priest does show up quite a bit just because it's a 1-mana card. It is our cheapest creature card out of everything. It does have good odds just because of the Magic Arena's automatic algorithm. They do want to give you some of your 1-mana. They make a... When they shuffle the deck, whatever deck shuffling algorithm Arena Online has, if you've got 1-mana spells, it's going to give you some 1-mana spells. I have had, when I've gone into ranked, I've had a couple times where none of my 1 and 2 mana spells come up, and it gives me like all 5, 6, and 7s. But this is still good because we can target the Drake with something and get some card draw, and we'll draw into the Rot Priest before too long, right? Unless they just kill it, which is a possibility. Are we mono red? Our opponent's name is Edge of Within. I don't know if that's a reference to something. If somebody knows that, let me know. I'm curious. I'm curious. We fly. And flyers attack. The question is, are they going to attack in? Maybe I shouldn't have blocked. Maybe I should have just Voltage Surge, Tameo Safekeeping. We get to draw a card. There's our Rot Priest. Did I mention we could just use the Storm Chaser Drake to draw into the Rot Priest? I think I mentioned that. These are not pre-recorded either. I got a full-time day job. I do not have time to edit anything. I tried editing once for one video recently, just to cut it down to a very short demonstration. It was only a couple minutes long. I don't know how well that did, but still manages to knock me out, huh? But I am indestructible, so I could block 1 point of damage against this Trampler. Considering they're tapped out, I wonder what we're waiting on. Rot Priest comes down. Oh, you know what we should do? Oh, we don't have... Okay, so this is good. I want to get rid of an Autonomous Furnace, so if it lasts long, they're not drawing a card with it. And I need another Forest anyway. This Rot Priest may not last. And I may just burn a 0-costing March of Burgeoning Life here just to get the poison started. They've got to have a burn spell, right? They've already had Voltage Surge in play with fire. Rot Priest is only 2 toughness. So this was kind of a risky move on my part. Against mono red burn aggro. I can really hear the panting of my new pet. Go ahead. What you gonna do? You're still gonna hit the Rot Priest, okay? I'll cast a 0, confirm it's 0. Oh, wait. It's March of Burgeoning Life. I can get rid of something. Pay for 2. Exile this. target you to go get another Venerated Raw Priest out. I knew there was a reason I had this card in my deck. Beautiful. Don't kill my second Rot Priest, okay? I mean, that's a lot of burn spells up front. So 1, 1, and 2. And I don't have any fading hopes to throw this growing creature out of my way. What else can you do? Don't look at the Rot Priest. You already killed one. I need to keep this one to win. What are the odds I got the other two anywhere near the top? They do have it. Ugh. Tap you down. Get to draw a card. It's just a land. That does not help. Have you ever seen a mono red player take this long to consider things? We're making them think. Okay, whenever a creature, so it's not a samurai, it's whenever any creature attacks. I'm used to seeing that in samurai decks. Okay, let's see. Play the land. Let's go ahead and play this now. Tap down infantry again. Perfect, I like that card. And that also means... So do I wait on that? Because that's 4 damage. Bam. I can use Tyvar Stand to protect, but I can also use it to plus up on a big hit. And if they don't kill it this round, I can use Prologue to give it another poison and see what else we can draw into this before the end of this turn. Okay, what is that? 5 damage? Yeah, just drawing more land. Okay. Next. And let's put that down. Let's put that down. Let's go ahead and do another poison counter. And we're putting everything down. If they don't get rid of the Drake, if they can only get rid of one creature this turn, we've got lethal. So they're digging. They're digging for an answer. Now Rebel Salvo does 5, Obliterating Bolt does 4, so that's 5 burn spells already out of everything. And I'm kind of flooding. For a deck... Oh, they didn't have it. They didn't get the answer. They couldn't take out the Drake. They could hit me for who knows how much damage. But how many spells was that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 spells in 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 lands. In a deck that has 8 extra spells. This kind of happens... I think I've seen this happen to other people sometimes, so I don't think this one is just me. I don't think it's a conspiracy theory on my part. You get a cheap deck going, and suddenly you start to flood out a lot. I had this is about a year ago, I want to say. I had a mono white deck that I created and went into ranked with, and just won like 90% of my battles the first night. And then the next day, I flooded out so many times, it was disgusting. I like my new opponent, Pocket Infinity. That's a fun name. And we have the Rot Priest at the beginning. I wish I had another colored land as opposed to Field of Ruin out of everything. But that's okay. We should be safe this way against green. And it's mono green, so I feel safe. I feel safe and cozy. I feel loved. I just need more land. Yeah, let's put out the Drake. Start the poisoning. Count on them not having a combat spell and a creature all at once. They didn't put down a creature before... Weren't you supposed to put down the land first? Okay, so... I can't spend that. I can attack. Is this a mono green wolf deck? Is there no red in there? 2 poisons. I really need some more colored land. I think I only have the 1 field rune in the entire deck, so the rest of our land should be good. Counters. You need more wolves. They can hit me for 1 with the pup. That's fine. Do I start this off? Yeah. We'll do the Drake to draw a card, and the Rot Priest gets the poison counter. Oh, they don't even hang around for that. Yeah. Well, we didn't get land, but they might have gone up against the Rot Priest before. Sometimes people have land problems. Sometimes they just don't want to face poison. Especially the Rot Priest. Like I said, if there's a card that's broken, this feels like it. I want to do just... I'm only interested in doing the Vesuvian Duplimancy with 4 copies of Duplimancy and cutting out some of the other cards and going in with the tight 60-card deck and just seeing how that plays. Just because that feels like it could be ridiculous. I don't know if people have bothered doing that yet. Probably have. Probably everything's been done. This is the rerun channel for slackers. We're free to play. We don't get all the mythic rares up front and show them off. That's for everybody else. Everybody else has been doing this for 5 or 6 years longer than me. Oh well, I'm here now. We're doing stuff. Malkator's Watcher. Kill it! Draw me a card. I dare ya. Double dog dare ya! It's a flight. It's not mono blue now, you know that. Wait, what? Hang on. Do they know this is a Rot Priest deck? I think Stormchaser Drake is a very common card to blend with the Rot Priest. I don't know about Malkator's Watcher. I don't have as much time to go watch other people's YouTube content, so... Or is it just that it was all flyers and they knew they didn't have enough to combat flyers? Sometimes it'd be nice to be able to send your opponent, like a little interaction, like send them an after-battle quiz and say, why did you quit? And give them like 4 different pre-configured options that Wizards has, you know, no land, or, you know, no defense, or didn't want to play that deck. You know, we could come up with good 4 or 5 choices that would cover most of the scenarios of why somebody quits in the first couple of cards that are revealed that you get to see. Okay, this is flying blind, but we got 2, so 1 can be the canary in the coal mine. If they kill it, they'll have to target it, right? This is kind of my perfect opening. Untap land and 2 Rot Priests, and we get poison. So we got to go first. Can we possibly lose? Reveal the hand. Remove a creature or a battle. If not, incubate 3. Okay. Go to town. You don't get nothing. You get an incubate 3. My turn. My turn, my turn, my turn. Down comes Ivy. We have Tyvar stand to protect us. 2 more poison counters just from slapping the opponent in the face. No matter what they do, if they try and do anything to one of us, one of the creatures, they're getting 3 poison counters. Morbid Opportunist is not a problem. As a matter of fact, they're getting another poison counter. 3, 6, 9. Okay. I think we just won. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I think we can win now on turn 4 again. That's 5. We target something other than Ivy. So 2 more takes us to 7. We take action on Ivy that targets Ivy with 2 Raw Priests. That means 2 more triggers. Puts them up to 9. And then we cast this for 1 on the other one. And that's 4 more triggers. So again, by turn 4, we have 13 poison counters. We didn't even get to the Vesuvian Duplimancy. Why do I even think about using Vesuvian Duplimancy? Who wants to wait to turn 4 and cast a Duplimancy when you can do everything ahead of time without it? Me. I'll be the dummy that does it anyway. Just because I like the idea of having like 10 robberies on the field. I don't know that we could get 10 rot priests on the field. I don't think you can get that many before you kill your opponent with poison counters. They didn't give an answer to this. This is the problem. This is why poison's a little bit busted. This is why rot priest in particular I feel like should be banned. There's one card in Phyrexia that maybe says, oh, you can only get 1 poison counter a turn instead of more than 1. And that's Wizard's idea of answering. This is kind of the dichotomy with the game is poison was specifically designed not to have an answer. It's an alternate win scenario. And the designer of it is the head designer of Magic the Gathering, Mark Rosewater. And yeah, he designed it with the intention that it doesn't have a counter. That once those poisons go on you, I mean, I think there's maybe 1 card in all of Magic that removes poison counters, and so you can only have 4 copies of that. And I feel like I have to not play anything. Because they could have a combat spell, they could have all sorts of stuff. We got the Field of Ruin again. So do I take Field of Ruin out of this? Okay, there we go. I'm trying to be patient. Let's see if they're going to target anything of mine. Slip out the back, draw a card, get a poison counter. The poisoning starts. A little late, turn 3, right? I'm tapped out, so if they've got anything... They target it again, but they kill it, so it's not coming back. Which is bad for me. So, another one of these. End the attack. I'm stuck with a Field of Ruin and convinced that I should now take it out. Because it's a waste of space. And this particular deck... I'm so used to putting in Field of Runes. Do they have something else again? Because they're attacking first, which is smart. Two more poison counters. Do you have another Elspeth Smite? Some of these game titles are card titles are. Ugh. Yeah, they got trample. I can't do 5 in 1 turn, can I? I can put that down. Yeah, Field of Ruin really messed me up this time, didn't it? Okay, so I can put 1, 2, 3, 4. No, I've got it. I've got it. Okay, so we put a counter on you, tap you down. 2 more counters. What do you got? They kept their land untapped. They didn't want to. They wanted to go in for the kill. They could have kept those up as blockers. Now they get 2 poison counters. Hexproof? Okay, but that doesn't untap you. That's 9. Oh, I used all my green. I'm dead. I did. I used all my green. Fielder Rune has to come out. Okay, that's a learning moment. We're taking Fielder Rune out right now. We're going to stick one more green card in there. Yeah, I don't care about specialty lands with this particular deck. I have a very muscle memory habit of always adding in at least 1 Fielder Rune. Sometimes 2, depending on what deck I'm making. And if you get Fielder Rune first and your opponent does not have non-basic lands, that is not good. We're going to fix that right now. See, Fielder Rune's not good for every deck. In the case, it may have prevented me from winning. And my opponent knew exactly what they were doing. They did good. So there is a case to be had that you could put a slip of Fading Hope into this, but maybe I'll do that with the Vesuvian Duplimancy deck. I still want to do that. Call me crazy. I don't have enough experience with this deck because I just created it today, so I don't know if I should just mulligan until I get the Rot Priest, because it's so common to get the Rot Priest. So I just play what I got. I feel like that's fine. I'm not playing Ranked. Ranked would probably be a whole different story. Oh, look, it's a Rot Priest. And I have a Shore Up on turn 2. Do they have a counterspell? No, they don't. They got a Flash Vandal. Three colors already. New Capenna rules. You're playing 3 colors, you get all 3 colors by turn 3. We lost life. That hurts. And the blood tokens give them a way to draw a card. So who cares if they get rid of that? They probably know better than to target the Rot Priest, so they're getting rid of cards that would target. And they're going to go straight for the kill. And that seems fine. Next. Storm Chaser Drake. They left themselves open to the start of poison. They felt like it's better to come in and attack. And our last opponent won that way, right? So maybe they're right. But these guys, they have non-basic lands, whoever they are. Monoprix? They do have lots of flyers, so that's good on them. All flyer deck. This will get another draw on the Vandal. So maybe that's the only time I get through with poison. We'll see. I got Winterthorn Blessing right there. I just need one more land. Come on through. Wasn't land. Little pukes. Alright, we're going to use Tamiyo's safekeeping then. Zimone and Dina! Another way to draw 2. Gurgling Unorter does well when they draw their second card as well. We are losing life points. We're almost dead. Okay, so do we wait? I don't think we can wait for Croaking Counterpart anymore. So let me go ahead and put this on Storm Chaser Drake. We're going to activate Poison. We're going to activate another Poison because Ivy also gets the spell. We'll get 4 life points and 2 indestructible creatures and a card draw out of everything. And we don't have enough to kill either one, but they don't have trample, so we save us from 7 points of damage this turn. And they are tapped out. I don't think it does any good for us to fly in and hit them, so we copy the Venerated Rot Priest. We also get a copy of Ivy. 2 more poison counters. Oh, we don't get to keep the frog for Ivy. Forgot about that. 5. That would be 6, 7, 8. I think we've got one more turn to wait, right? We can survive. 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. I think I got a block with somebody. Let's do a card draw. Take action. Ivy gets it. 2 more poison counters. And we'll go ahead and give up the Drake. And they're all completely... They're not tapped out, but they tapped all their creatures. And how many ways do I have of winning right now? I've got 2 creatures. They get to draw another card. I have 1, 2, 3, 4 different ways of winning. And this is the one that only gives them 1 poison counter. Turn 6, 4 different ways to get 10 poison counters on them with this deck configuration. And that's with a Vesuvian Duplimancy we never used. So, just for that. Although having 1 feels fun, it's kind of a dead card, isn't it? So, let's keep that as its own separate deck for the future, whenever I get around to it. And we'll just keep that at 67 cards. And that's the deck list I'll leave with. And so, we've already made 2 corrections just in playtesting upon creation today, and the Field of Ruin, me having the Field of Ruin up front, led to my only defeat so far. Ugh. I think the card is broken. I think if there's anything that I would ban in the entire game right now, forget Atraxa. I feel like Venerated Rot Priest, to get a 1/2 for 1 mana is fine. They've done that before. To get a 1/2, even with Toxic, is still okay, although a little threatening. A tiny bit overpowered, but I mean, we're used to seeing 1/2s that have, like, you know, whenever a condition happens, this happens, or maybe give it a vigilance or, you know, something. Having the Toxic ability isn't necessarily broken, but having Toxic plus the targeting spell aspect of its activated ability. Actually, I think that's what you call it, a passive ability. Sorry. I feel like this card is broken. I really do. I feel like I won too many times already, and I didn't run through a lot in the way of practice before I did this. I think I ran 2 games maybe before I started recording. No, I ran 1 game and then I started recording on the 2nd game. And then a very loud phone rang out and spoiled my recording, which it was a beautiful win, too. I had such an early win with so many disgusting poison counters. It was more than anything. I kind of wish I had kept recording, but I automatically stopped recording as soon as the noise came in. So this is why I don't do Twitch anymore. I have to stick with YouTube so I can cancel a recording at the beginning if I have interruptions. Anyway, we're going to leave it there. Remember to like and subscribe. Let me know what you think of the deck. Is Venerated Rot Priest broken, or would you actually choose a different card in the current standard environment right now that is worse in your mind than Venerated Rot Priest? I may set up a quiz because I really am interested in your guys' opinion. All right, we'll leave it there. Thanks, everybody. This has been Travis for Tpull's Corner. Have a good one.